Welcome to the Heart of Brighton, Brighton Ford's new podcast that highlights and features the people, businesses, and organizations that make Brighton and our surrounding area the great place it is. I'm happy to introduce our host, Kim Adams.
Hi, I'm Kim Adams. Welcome to In the Heart of Brighton, sponsored by Brighton Ford. We started this podcast initially to highlight some of the great things going on at Brighton Ford, but it has already blossomed into getting into the community, letting you know what's going on here in Brighton and some of the great organizations. And I'm really excited about today's show. If you know anything about me, you know how much I support veterans. I have a long-standing history of military service in my family. I was a naval wife for over 15 years and have a very special place in my heart for veterans. But Bryan Bradford has taken it one step further by developing an incredible organization called Veterans Connected. Bryan, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having us in. We really appreciate it.
Tell me about Veterans Connected.
Well, we were an organization, a bunch of veterans got together, and we found that there was veterans that weren't being served. Statistically, we found in 2019, 27% of the veterans didn't qualify for any benefits whatsoever because they were either over an income limit or they didn't get injured in the line of duty or didn't serve in the right time frame. Mm-hmm. And we got together to just plain out fix the problem. And that's exactly what we did.
What year was that? When was it formed?
We actually we incorporated and got our 501c3 in September of 2019.
Oh, so it's just been a couple of years,
mm-hmm.
and you've already done incredible things.
Yeah, we got a bunch of business people on the board that got some business minds in that short period of time. Even during COVID, the 2020 year. We gave away over $130,000 in support and 5 vehicles to local veterans.
Wow! And these are local veterans in Brighton.
Throughout the Livingston County community, we do not have geographical borders, so we do reach outside that as well. But we'll serve all veterans as long as they put the uniform on. We will serve them.
And talk to me about some of the challenges that veterans face today.
Well, a lot of them is that the assimilation coming out of the military. We have a thing called outside the wire, which basically means that we have 2 kinds of people that we know of when in the military. There is friendlies, which are people you know that are inside the wire, and then there's people outside the wire. And when you don't know who to trust, you trust nobody. The problem is when we get out, there's a pride thing about having us being damaged or broken with trauma or PTSD. And there's only 3 people that typically veterans will go talk to. One's somebody else who has been on that same beach, the same sand, wore the uniform. The second is typically clergy. And last but not least is somebody within the therapy world. So they tend not to go and get them. Our statistics have shown that 90% of the people that actually go and get help usually do that through their spouse. Their spouse has given them an ultimatum saying, go do this or else. Mm-hmm. So we run a lot of events family-wise. We just ran one this last weekend. We brought on a bunch of veteran families. And the backdrop of everything we do is to get to those veterans, to at least shake hands with them and let them know that there are services available for them. And there's a vet out there, brother to brother, brother to sister, that we will help them. And
you have one of your board members here.
Absolutely. Jeff Yeakey. Jeff Yeakey came to us with an idea a while back, and him and his wife are just phenomenal people. 10th Mountain Division, Army Ranger, one of those guys that jumped out of planes as well, airborne. Jeff, introduce yourself.
My name is Jeff Yeakey. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, 10th Mountain Division, like Bryan said. One of the most deployed units since 2001 and 9/11. One of the things that I'm going to give you a little backdrop story on how Freedom River, what we're working on right now, how it came about, is that I got out of the military. I went into Michigan State. I got my degree in exercise physiology. And one of the fortunate things is that I was totally fine. I wasn't damaged. I didn't get hurt. I had no physical or cognitive issues or anything. And I got a job working at the Ann Arbor VA. It was when I started at the Ann Arbor VA that I realized that there's a serious, clear and present problem with how the veterans are treated, what they get and what they don't get. And with that 3-year experience working with different veterans, one of the things that we would ask is, if there was something more that you would like, what would that be? And the common response was, how do I get out of here? A lot of them that go in for treatments or surgeries or what have you, there is no outlet for them. So I've kind of taken it upon myself, my wife and I and my 18-year-old son for the last 18 years of gone into the VA. On Christmas Eve, we dress up as Santa Claus. We go in, we get gift bags, we raise money, we give them cash for personal needs, things of that nature. And this last 20 months has been a real struggle with COVID. And I say that because at the Ann Arbor VA, there's a extended care unit where there's 40 rooms for 40 veterans. These are for veterans that basically go there to die. They don't have family, they don't have friends, no support groups. And so our job is, like Brian says, we want to fill that void and help them feel connected. Over that 20 months, we were fortunate enough to see right next to our house, actually in Hamburg Township on the Huron River, a piece of property went up for sale. It's 94 acres. This 94 acres is field and rolling woods. It's got a half a mile of frontage on the Huron River. It also has 1,200 feet of frontage on a private lake. Looked at my wife, looked at my son, and said, what do you think? The asking price is $2.4 million. And they said, let's go for it. Why not? One thing that we always taught our son since he was a little kid playing basketball is you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
So that's one of the things that we had to tell ourselves. So we went to the Hamburg Township and presented it to them, and they said it was not going to be a good idea. It doesn't fit with the guidelines for the master plan. Gave me a call back a week later and said, we'd like to have you come in and talk to us about what you like to do. And it's just kind of...
Explain to us, what do you want to do? Like, what was your idea for this Freedom River?
So Freedom River, seeing what the veterans need, they need an outlet. Mm-hmm. They need a place for Freedom River, our catch tag kind of is relax, recover, and rejuvenate. So we want to make sure that the veterans have an outlet to go to. And so what we'd like to do is serve actually southeastern Michigan, the 6 counties in this area, because there's a lot of veterans that we can reach out to and help for. Just examples that I had working at the VA hospital with the patients there's a lot of downtime. It would be great for them to have an outlet to go to. Mm-hmm. A lot of veterans need to talk about different things. Just this last year, PTSD and suicide rate is so high right now. I actually lost 2 friends of mine that I went through boot camp with and were stationed at Fort Drum to suicide in the month of August. I got two people my age. One, Steve Tompkins, very close friend of mine, had texted me about 2 months ago, and we were about to go on a road trip. And we were going to go down to North Carolina. He had texted me saying, hey, Jeff, I need to get out and clear my mind. Mind if I stop by your house? He's from New York. And he said that he really needed to get out. And I said, well, actually, we're on our way out, a road trip too. Why don't you hit me up on your way back? Well, we got back. I didn't hear back from him. And then on Facebook, I had heard that he had actually passed away. That on Facebook, I saw rest in peace. So
you found out from Facebook?
Yeah, found out through Facebook. So it's tough to swallow because it just reaffirms what we'd like to do with Freedom River. If we would have had Freedom River up and running, it would have been a perfect opportunity to say, hey, Steve, come on out. I got a great place for you.
You have a veteran that's struggling and they're looking for an outlet and they go to Freedom River. What will they experience while they're there?
So when they come to Freedom River, they'll be welcomed. There'll be a drive that comes into the Welcome Lodge. We'll welcome them in. First, we'll talk about what they would like to do. We're going to have 8 family cabins that they can stay in. One thing I want to be clear on is that the veterans will pay zero. They pay absolutely nothing.
Good.
So when they come, we're going to talk to them, find out what their needs are, and we can decide if they want to stay for a week, if they just on a weekend, or they just want to spend the night. We'll reach out to our team and find out exactly what they need, and we're going to supply what they need. They might need some financial help. They just might need to air themselves out and talk to another veteran. That's how they're going to relax, recover, and rejuvenate. You asked about some of the things that we offer at Freedom River. A lot of those things are going to be things like canoeing. We're going to have RV hookups. We're going to have fire pit pavilions. We're going to have an outdoor basketball court. We're going to have a Gold Star cabin for those families that have lost a family member in combat. We're going to have river tubing since we're on the river. We're going to have jet skis. We're going to have paddle boards. We're going to have horseback riding. We're going to have a 300-foot zip line that goes from the Welcome Lodge down to the river. We're going to have an exercise workout area, hiking trails, pontoon boat rides, camping cabins, tracked wheelchairs for anybody that's physically has a disability with that. We're going to have tent sites. We're going to have a regulation-sized baseball field, a pickleball court, which is very popular now, a garden area, and volleyball courts, just to mention some of them right there.
And is it just the veteran, or can it be the veteran and their families that come as well?
That'll be veterans and their families. So when we've been going and doing these presentations, people ask, well, how are you going to be able to sustain a 94-acre parcel with all of these amenities? How are you going to do that?
That was my next question.
Yeah, so sustainability is a big one. And with my wife working at a local church here at Shepherd of the Lakes, one of the things that she's very good at is fundraising. So we have annual galas. We're going to have military events. We're going to have softball tournaments. We're going to have fishing derbies, corporate retreats at the lodge, day camps. We're going to have boot camps, just a lot of things. And the way we've projected it so far for opening is about $300,000 of intake for sustainability. And with the expenses, salaries, and maintenance, insurance, everything paying out, we're looking at about $220,000. So we're pretty happy with moving forward with that project.
Brian, could you have ever imagined in 2019 that we have you can't see it at home, but there's a map of what Freedom Ribbon will look like. I mean, it's just been a couple of years that you started this organization, and already this is something that many organizations only dream of. I mean, this could be a 20-year plan, and here it is right in front of you.
You know, we talked about it earlier. It's you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. We sat, and there were 6 or 8 of us vets sitting around talking about what we wanted to do, how we wanted to make a difference, and we couldn't even imagine that it would grow to this. To think that this has the ability to bring in people and train them, bring in people, and we could run a program that we brought in called Reboot Recovery, which is a trauma PTSD recovery program. And that was out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And we brought that here in 2017. It's now being taught in dozens of locations throughout the state. But to give people an opportunity to come in and have a place to rejuvenate, you just need to, sometimes you just need some downtime. And we talked about earlier, this is a place that we're going to create that when a veteran and their family come in, they're just going to feel like it's like inside the wire, a place to be able to kind of let down a little bit. Yeah.
It's safe. It's insulated. It sounds like it's insulated from the rest of the world, which right now I would imagine they need, especially after the year that we've had. It's a struggle for everyone, but for a veteran, I can imagine the last year and a half has been devastating for some families.
Yeah, Jeff talked about earlier, when the number right now is, I'm hearing close to 50 veterans a day are ending their lives by suicide.
So more than double what it was.
Yes.
Said, was it 22 that you said was the typical number?
22 is the average. If I can, we just brought some stats in real quick to share with you. The Pentagon just released 3 weeks ago. U.S. Army active duty forces have jumped 46% compared to last year in suicide. Just to put things in perspective, in the 20-year war since 2001 until present time, 2,401 United States military deaths were in combat. That's over 20 years, 2,400 people. Now let's talk about the suicide. In those same 20 years, 30,177 active duty personnel and veterans have taken their own lives.
2 of which were your friends recently.
2, correct. So that kind of puts in perspective, and that just re-energizes you even more.
Why? What's going on? What are we not doing to support these men and women?
Well, one of it's the stigma. If you're active duty, if you're guard, reserve, if you say that you're broken, you have PTSD, you have trauma. One of the first things they do is they take away your unit. It makes you undeployable, and many have been discharged for it. And
okay.
Everything that you trained for, you were with your brothers, you were with your sisters, everything that you knew, and all of a sudden you're on the outside looking in. And a similar thing to me happened. I went from going through rehab.
And when did you serve, Brian? I'm sorry, we didn't even say that. We should have said that right at the beginning.
I got out in '87 during Cold War.
In what branch of service?
I was a U.S. Army military police officer.
Okay.
Did dignitary security.
Okay.
So I went, that's something that's happened a long time, because I went from walking into my first sergeant's office thinking I was going to get rotated back into my unit after I went through rehab. And 10 days later, I was standing in Oakland, California, out processing out of the Army, asking what happened.
Wow. In 10 days, your whole life.
10 days. One of the problems that PTSD has become so prominent is in years past, the veterans, Vietnam, Korea, they would take weeks and months before they were able to come home, and they were able to, at least assimilate a little bit or mentally get that. It's now hours. It's hours from the front to their family. And there's not one vet that comes home that's the same as when they left.
So before, where would they go? To like a VA hospital to transition? Or what was where would they go in the interim for those couple of months that they're not going to now?
Mine was real quick. Jeff, when you processed out, how was your time frame?
3 days. Literally clean up all my equipment and then head over and turn everything in. Everything got signed off, and it was back to civilian world again. There was no transition period whatsoever.
Yeah, so there was no, in some cases, people need to go through debriefings and things of that fashion and sign off on classified information they may know. But for the most part, in years past, it was weeks and months before they were coming home. They were sent out to different units outside their unit, and then out processed out of the military. But in the meantime, between now and us opening up Freedom River, which we're hoping to break ground this spring, is that we are doing what we can to get the veterans and help the ones in need. We're kicking off a program that we've done, I've been part of for over a decade, which is called Adopt a Soldier. Last year,
tell me about that.
Yeah, last year during Christmas, we gave away over $38,000 in support and gave away a vehicle during that time frame during COVID, which was during lockdown. So we look for veterans that kind of need a little helicopter to pop in and drop them some support. The last thing you could ever see to a veteran is, do you need help? Don't ask them that. They're too proud. They won't take it. Mm-hmm. But what we have found that works is that if I say, how about drop in a Black Hawk helicopter full of supplies from one vet to another, and next time you could be on that chopper dropping supplies. And that's kind of how we've grown over the years. So we've got 3 families right now. We usually adopt 9 to 12 families, and we get people from the community that wind up buying gift cards or donate. We do everything from paying mortgage payments to fixing cars to there's really no limits. And one of the benefits of our 501c3, unlike a lot of the other veteran organizations, is we do not have limitations on what we can do or geographical locations that we have to stay within. Mm-hmm. A lot of the others, being great groups, they have operating agreements and what have you, charters that they have to stay in with regards to the state and the feds with their organizations, where Veterans Connection doesn't. So like Jeff said, within the metropolitan Detroit area, Freedom River, we have 274,000 veterans. Mm-hmm. In Livingston County, if you look at the statistical data, only 1% of the population put the uniform on. But in Livingston County, it's almost 7%.
Wow.
So we have a very high veteran base here in Livingston County. So,
and I think you brought up a really good point when you said, you ask a veteran, the worst thing you can really say is, how can I help you? Well, you can't, because I'm used to helping you, and that's just the way it is. I know going through cancer, it was the same thing, where you don't want anyone's help. But now what I do, whether it's a veteran, whether it's a friend, instead of saying, what can I do to help? Which I know they'll say, no, I'm fine. I say, okay, here's 3 options. I can either bring you dinner, I can, help you with your kids, or I can do something else. But you just tell them, I'm doing one of these 3, and you just choose which. Right. And usually that just takes the pressure off of them of saying, I need help. I need this. It's like, listen, it's more for me than it is for you. I want to help you. Here's your options. And you just don't give them a choice. But I can imagine that the pride that comes from their service, they already feel vulnerable because of whether it's an injury, whether it's, whatever it is, the PTSD, and now they have to ask for help. I mean, it's got to be pretty demoralizing for some of these men and women.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk to me about that. Like, what are they emotionally going through? Well,
like you said, we're used to being the ones that show up with the care packages. Right. The U.S. military is known. The misconception is that we're known for always wanting to fight. The fact of the matter is that the U.S. military is the largest provider of care and goods and services worldwide for support, more than all the other nations combined. They provide things like when Haiti, around the world, we're building bridges and schools and providing food and things of that fashion. And to be on the other side of it, I know when I came home myself, although not a combat vet, there was that, I shouldn't be asking for help. I shouldn't need help. Mm-hmm. But, everybody needs a hand up. Right. I mean, one of the greatest sounds you'll ever hear, and I've been told this many, many times, is when you're in combat and you hear a Black Hawk. That means that something's coming that's good.
Right.
Right. It usually means that you're going to be getting out of Dodge. You're going to be drop supplies. You're going to be getting support, something to that degree. Mm-hmm. So that's the way we look at it. And we look at it as just like, hey, brother to brother. There's just the minute someone tells you that they've had to put the uniform on, there's an instant bond. Mm-hmm. It's just, you don't have to tell them, you just understand. And that's what we want to do, is we want to just strike that conversation. Let them know that we care. The most common thing that we hear when we serve people, the most common phrase we hear is, we did not know anybody cared. When we show up.
Really?
That's the most common comment we hear, is we didn't know anybody cared. And if you're a veteran listening, let me tell you, we care. We put our money where our mouth is. We all put time aside. This is a ministry first. We believe that. We talk about that on a regular basis. It's a ministry first. And we believe that God has put wind behind our sail, and we're going to be able to do something that we just want to be his hands doing this work. And we get great people like Jeff and his wife and many of the others that have come to work with us and want to volunteer with us. You don't have to be a veteran to be part of the organization. You do have to be a veteran to be part of the board. But you do not need to be a veteran to be part of the organization. And that makes us a little bit different with a lot of the other organizations as well.
So talk to me about the holidays coming up, and someone listening right now, what can they do to support you?
Well, the greatest thing we always need is cash. And that comes with, when we need to fix somebody's car or pay electric bills or pay back, get them caught up on rents or mortgage payments or what have you. One of the best stories we had was last year. We had a young lady, 100% combat veteran, 100% disabled. She nearly lost her 3-year-old daughter to COVID. Oh. And on top of that, she was required to wear a mask, but she couldn't because of her lung issues. So her employer let her go. And she was behind on rent, 7 people in the house. And meanwhile, she's got her daughter at the hospital, and we showed up in droves. We partnered with a couple groups, and one of them came out big time, which was the Green Oak Police Department. And we were wound up able to catch them up on their back rent, take care of their utility bills. We actually paid their rent forward a little bit, and we're able to take care of everything that they needed. But there's 3 basic ways that you can help. One is donate. We will have lists online here in the near future that we'll put online for people to be able to pick out an item that they want. Everyone wants the kids, but mom and dad need help too. They need things like winter boots and jackets and Carhartt and things of that fashion. Secondly is gift cards. We are a 501c3, so people can donate and write it off on their taxes so they can itemize. The financial planner and me coming out. And then lastly is volunteering. I mean, when we show up at the door, it is absolutely a ball. We have Santa, real Santa, that shows up, and we knock on the door and to see the kids'
Santa's
eyes
a big supporter of veterans.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
Huge.
And we're working on an event. Matter of fact,
he's airborne, so he gets it.
He might get more airborne than you think. We're working on a deal on December 11th at 242. We're going to have 242 Community Church. We're going to have a Breakfast with Santa event.
Oh, great!
And we're working on a deal. It's not done yet, but Santa may show up airborne.
Oh, okay.
But he will be there. We'll have military vehicles available as well. But just to be able to, and I can tell you. So when you went to say people need help. It's just as much, I think one of the most selfish, not selfless things you can do is help somebody else. If you're feeling down on yourself, if you're feeling like a little bit under the weather or as far as down in the dumps, go help somebody. Go lend a hand. Go feed somebody. Go just sit with them and talk to them, listen to them. Sometimes just listening is all you need to do. And somebody said, no, that's selfless, not selfish. I go, no. There'd be nothing better to build your own self-esteem than knowing that you have been part of a thumbprint on helping somebody else. And so volunteer, come on out. It's a ball. We have people dress
again,
up
you
like
don't have
elves.
to be a veteran. Anyone can volunteer.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. But always donations are always, you can go to our webpage, which is veteransconnected.org, veteransconnected.org. You can look us up on Facebook and follow us. We always have our most current events going on up there. We've had a great opportunity this last summer. We partnered with people like Brighton Ford. We had a Ruck for Life. We had over 200 people. Every single one of those people marched from Howell to Brighton. Every single one of those people knew a veteran that ended their life by suicide. We started a conversation. Wow. We want to keep the conversation going. It's a conversation that needs to happen. There is, if you look at people that they got causes all over the place, but the fact of the matter is we're losing 34 to 50 veterans a day to suicide. And when you look at them only being 1% of the population, that is a very high statistic.
It's staggering. And, when something happens in the world, we all, tie a yellow ribbon around our tree and we fly our flag. But when it comes down to truly helping veterans, this is a way to do it.
Absolutely.
It's great. And I'm all for that, the patriotism of it. And we say we support our veterans, but this is an organization where you can really put your money where your mouth is and your time. Maybe you don't have the funds, you don't have the money this year to donate. Donate your time.
Absolutely.
Donate your time. And so it's an incredible organization. Thank you both for what you do for our veterans. Again, I was a naval wife for 15 years. I've seen families struggle, particularly the enlisted families who were living below the poverty line. Their husbands are off fighting for our country or their wives, and they're at home trying to figure out how to pay the bills. That's not right. It's just not right. And so we feel helpless sometimes as to, okay, but what can I do? What can I do? This is what you can do. This is an organization right here in the Brighton area, in Livingston County, that you can help with your time or your money or any way that you can help. This is a great organization, and we fully support you, and we thank you for what you do. And good luck. I can't wait. The breaking of the ground is spring.
Coming this spring. We are looking for corporate donors that want to assist with that, because we're at 1.7 million right now in committed funds. We need to get to 4.1. So we need to close the gap on that and make this dream a reality. And our attitude is if this project saves one veteran life, it's worth every dime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I don't know, Lauren, I probably shouldn't speak for John and Brighton Ford, but I'm pretty sure that one of those corporate sponsors is going to be Brighton Ford, because I know they support our veterans and I know they support our local businesses and nonprofits. So I appreciate you both very much. Sorry, John and Lauren, but you are now a corporate sponsor of the Freedom River from Veterans Connected. We appreciate you so much. Again, if you want more information, it is veteransconnected.org, correct? And we'll have all that information when we post this podcast as well. So thank you so much for being a part of In the Heart of Brighton. I'm Kim Adams. Take care.